Hey, welcome back to the Big Red Zone. We are very excited for today's show. We have our weekend recap, all our normal stuff about the NFL. Big news today, Billy O'Brien finally gets the boot, so we'll talk about him and some of the other coaches that may be on their way out, as well as our way too early awards. All that and more on this week's episode of the Big Red Zone. Welcome to the podcast. It is the Big Red Zone. I'm your host, Big Red. Today, I am joined again. Guest host, Danny Football.
That's
is
2
back
weeks in a row.
The building. Back in the building once again. And over on his drums, we have producer John.
Yes, sir.
How's everyone doing today? How was this week?
I feel good. Feel good about last week.
Jeez, we're off to a stellar start.
We figured it out. John had it all going on the fly.
Yeah.
I think we're all feel a little more confident in the new space.
Recording wise, I feel good.
I feel good too.
Personal life has been all right.
Let's get into it. Forget all the sports stuff. What's going on in your life, John?
I just want to mention the audio should be a lot better this week. I don't know if anyone noticed. If you didn't notice, then got bad ears. But audio should be better this week.
Well, that's good. Thanks, John.
That's what I'm here for.
Producer John, everyone, thank you. Before we get into today's episode, obviously, we mentioned last week that James was taking a little break, and we have a little, how you say, message from James, right? A little message from James. I will read it. He said, I hope that the show continues great success, and a special thanks for everyone that has supported the podcast since the beginning. Unfortunately, I have to step away at this time. It's been a fun ride, and thanks for all the memories. Stay groovy. He didn't say stay groovy, but that would have been funny.
As
but
James always says,
stay groovy.
Stay groovy.
So obviously James, he has stuff going on in his life right now that he needs to take a step back from the podcast. So he wishes us all the best of luck. And so we're sad to see him go, but the show must go on. So
solid 50 episodes or 49 or whatever.
49 episodes, I think.
Yeah.
That's a lot.
It's a year.
That's an IMDb page and a half. 49 episodes on a
couple seasons.
That's a couple seasons. It was 2 seasons. 2 seasons of the show.
Yeah. Which we just kind of made up.
Yeah. But hey,
now it's season 3, I guess. Whatever.
But yes, obviously special thanks to James. Special place. This is always home for the podcast. It's been here since the beginning. So sad to see him go.
He can still get his butt kicked in the fantasy football league.
He's still going to get his butt kicked in the fantasy football league. We also got the football today's Patriots game, which don't want to get into it too early, but last week's picks of the week, we picked 2 games that got postponed.
Games that ended up getting postponed.
So obviously we can't
technically a win.
Technically
not a loss.
Not a loss.
We don't lose.
Right now, my game's going on. The Patriots versus the Chiefs. This is Monday night. Right now, they're currently losing 6-3. Not terrible, considering you don't have your starting quarterback out there. It's 6-3 at the end of the second quarter. I'm happy with where they're at right now, to be honest with you, in this game. Anything can happen. Defense is keeping them in the game. But we'll reference that here and there. We got it on the TV. If something happens, live reactions. But let's get into our first subject, shall we? And we have a little twist in some of these. A little twist. It is the weekend recap. It's the weekend recap. What a transition.
Great transition,
That was
Big Red.
Great.
Amazing.
John, great beat. Great beat.
We made that, 20 minutes ago?
Yeah, that was a good one. So for weekend recap, first game on the docket today, we have an old friend, Tommy, the Bucks versus the Chargers. Initial thoughts, Danny, what do you think?
Tom Brady can't stop throwing pick sixes, and it's kind of making me feel better about him leaving.
I mean, yeah, he threw the pick 6, but he looked really strong in that. He had a tough, that pick 6 obviously wasn't great, but he was carving up the defense at once he got his stride in the game. 5 touchdowns in the game, over 369 yards. I just want to point out that our friend
Leonard Fournette
was not in the game. And the guy that everyone said stinks, Ronald Jones, had 111 yards. So just want to throw that out there. But yeah, I mean, he was passing all over to everyone. Like everyone was getting touches. Mike Evans had a big day. Scotty Miller had a good day. OJ Howard, and now I know he got hurt, but he had a good last game of the season, I guess. It was a great play to Gronk, only one, but it was a huge, like, go give it to him and get the ball. You know, I think minus that pick six and a couple other throws, Tommy had a really good day throwing the football.
I think my biggest thing is that I expect that out of Tom, especially how loaded that team is. I was more impressed with with Herbert.
Oh, don't get me wrong.
I was way more impressed with him than anyone else.
This kid, Justin Herbert, he's the real deal. Now, I know Joey Burrow is the best quarterback in the draft. There's no doubt. Joey is elite, right? He's one of the best. He's going to be good for a long time.
I love Joey cigars.
But this Justin Herbert, he is special. He's come in and give them, I feel like, more life since coming in. Like he had that first game against the Chiefs, which could have been a make or break game for him. Like that could have been a huge confidence booster. One of the reasons I think they're not playing Stidham tonight is that exact reason. He would have taken a lot of hits, got mentally beat up, and you don't need that from your young quarterback. Justin Herbert came in and took the hits and threw over 300 yards that first game and threw a couple touchdowns and had the game.
He had the Chargers up 10 going into the fourth. He kind of shrunk in the final quarter, but I mean,
right. But
3 quarters,
game,
he was out dueling Tom Brady.
Yeah. And in this game, yes. So I'm with you. I think I'm very impressed with what Justin Herbert is bringing to the table. From a fantasy perspective, he loves Keenan Allen. So if you have Keenan Allen in your team, he's kind of becoming more relevant this year, right? He's been up and down. Keenan Allen's been up and down over the last few years, but I feel like he's feeding Keenan Allen. I like him. I like Justin Herbert, and I think he's going to be a stud going forward.
This is going to be a good Chargers team, I'd say, next season.
Yeah. I mean, what hurts is Austin Eckler injury.
Right.
That's huge for that team. Like him going out with an injury is just and especially they said it's a pretty bad hamstring injury. That hurts. That really hurts because that kind of kills all the momentum that you were just building. But at the same time, they still got Keenan Allen, still got Hunter Henry. They still got that man, Justin Herbert. So I think they're okay. I think the Chargers are they're not going to win anything.
They're in a good position. They're in a good position.
They're in a good position going forward. So in the Bucs, I mean,
this is exactly what they wanted. This is why you bring in Tom Brady, is to win these kinds of games.
Exactly. And Ronald Jones is doing his thing. I think that's a big thing that I think people aren't really pointing out. He is balling this year. He's having a great year. So if they can have at least one person in their running game kind of ball out, and then that opens up everything on the outside for your wide receivers and tight ends passing game, I think it's going to be a big day. I think it's going to be a great season for them. I still don't think the Bucs are going to be as good as they think, but this is just a taste of the offense that they can do. Defensively, you gave up 31 points to a rookie
Defensively,
quarterback.
they're not a good team.
No, they have that good. Who's that? Levante David, who is having a great year, but as a whole, the defense.
I think these are the kind of games they're going to have to win. Is 30 plus. Oh, you need to put close to 40 on the board just to get out of there.
And especially this is a must win for the Tampa. I know it's we're getting it's too early to say must wins, but you got to win these games. If you're playing the Chargers,
the winnable games, you need to put these away.
Right. You can't say now, you can't go into this next week 2-2 with losing to the Chargers. You know what I mean? So good win, I think, for Tampa. It's tough for the Chargers, but they're young and they got a nice young core going forward. Another game that is pretty, we were kind of talking about, is the Vikings Texans game. Vikings edged the Texans 31-23. Now, I've given the Texans the benefit of doubt for most of the season. They had a tough schedule going in. The first 3 games were brutal. But this game you got to win. This is a game you can't go 0-4 to start the season. You had to win this game.
I feel so bad for Deshaun Watson. I still don't know why he signed that extension.
Why in the world did he sign that big extension?
He had every chance to just ride out this year, see what happened, and then take a look at free
See you
agency.
later.
And then if he wanted to go back, he could go back.
Yeah.
Signs on for an extra 4 years. And man, this is not looking good.
Now, he had a good day. 300 yards.
He had
2
a good day,
touchdowns.
but he's not winning ball games.
No. They need some help on the defensive side. Your defense gave out 31 points to Kirk Cousins, who Kirk Cousins in his own right is a good quarterback, but we've seen he's very up and down. Now, Dalvin Cook had a day. They couldn't stop him. I just saw this. 2 receivers for them had over 100 yards. Adam Thielen had 114 and a touchdown. Justin Jefferson, who second week in a row had a big day, had 103 yards. So they gotta figure something. I mean,
I think that's going to be the theme of the Texans season is they're not going to be able to put up enough points to cover their defense. The defense is just an open, they're not stopping anyone. The Vikings are just scoring at will.
Yeah, and I don't understand because they got some good players on the defensive side of the football. But I guess everyone's kind of aged a little bit. There was a good defense a couple of years ago, but everyone's a little older, a little slower.
And that happens with every defense. It happened to Jacksonville. It happened to the Texans.
It happened to the Patriots.
The Rams, everyone.
Happens. So, but I think the main cause of this is their bonehead trading away DeAndre Hopkins.
Terrible trade.
And I mean, it doesn't help your defense, but Will Fuller, who is a make or break player, he's got over 108 yards. You have DeAndre Hopkins in, that opens it up even more. And now I get David Johnson has had a pretty decent year so far. It doesn't show because they're always losing and they don't.
You're still
can't run the ball.
You traded D-Hop for David Johnson, so David Johnson's ceiling by default becomes that much higher.
Yeah.
And he's just not going to live up to the expectations that they're expecting.
Now, my thing about that is the first 3 games, you were playing better teams and you were losing. David Johnson isn't going to get the touches. David Johnson has to get touches in the beginning, early in the game. But when they continually go down and are losing, they have to throw the ball. I guess you could say throw it at David Johnson, but you can't just do checkdowns the entire game. So I think David Johnson's numbers are going to see an increase as they start to get into these games where they're up in the 4th, you know what I mean? Or winning games. They're always losing. So it's I can't expect him to get more than he's getting.
I've never believed in him, so I think the dude's trash, but that's just me. I don't think he was close to being worth DeAndre Hopkins, and I don't think he's anywhere close to being a cornerstone player anymore.
Absolutely not. I don't think he's worth DeAndre Hopkins, but I think he's still a solid player, and they got picks in that deal, yes?
A second rounder?
Second round, yeah. This is terrible. Brandon Cooks has done nothing since being here. It was a terrible trade.
You just created a vacuum at wide receiver, and you added a running back who's not a game changer.
Yeah.
That's the way I see it, and that's just the way it is at this point.
So, obviously, with the 0-4 start, and terrible moves in the front office, Billy O got the can today.
Well deserved.
Well, it's been a long time coming, to be honest with you. He's blown so many games. He's made a lot of bonehead trades, i.e. the DeAndre Hopkins trade. It was only a matter of time.
The Clowney trade.
I personally thought that now the Clowney trade ended up not hurt. I got it. He didn't want to pay players. That was his problem. And Clowney went to the Seahawks, who you thought they were going to sign him, and he went to another team. So the Seahawks gave up kind of a bunch for him, and you know what I mean? They got a rental for 1 year. But anyways, I thought they were going to take away the GM power from him and let him continue.
That was really the downfall of Bill O'Brien in Houston, was giving him the GM role in the first place.
Right.
He's a good enough coach. Don't get me wrong. He gets them to the playoffs. He wins the division. He's a good middle of the road coach, and he's just not going to get you over any humps. But this team has regressed. It's gotten worse. Watson, you took away his best weapon. You took away a piece on the defense, and this team is just a shell of itself at this point.
Right.
And it's kind of disappointing from a Texans fans' perspective in that, hey, we were making the playoffs. We were winning the division. It seemed like we were going up and up and up, we kept hitting stride after stride after stride. And then you sell off all these big players and you don't replace them. And now here we are 0-4 to start the season. It cost him his job.
You had a great young core going for it. And I mean, DeAndre Hopkins isn't how old is he? He's like 30 at this point.
Couldn't tell you. Keep rambling. I'll find out.
He's not like they got a nice core of DeAndre Hopkins, Deshaun Watson, and even throw Will Fuller in there if you wanted to. You know what I mean? You throw someone else in that offense.
JJ Watt
on the defense. I mean, from like the offense's perspective. Right. But yes, JJ Watt, even Clowney. Like if you kept the 4 players together on each side, you had DeAndre Hopkins and Deshaun Watson, and you had Clowney and Watt on the defensive side, along with some of the other guys that fill in. You have a solid team. How is it? Late 20s? 28, yeah. So, I mean, he's still young. He's a young wide receiver. So it was a bonehead trade. It was well-deserved. It's about time. And
now it's up to the Texans to find a coach who can not only win divisions, win one playoff game, but get you to AFC championship games, Super Bowls, and capitalize on the star quarterback that you have in Deshaun Watson. Because, yeah, he just got that extension for 4 years, but at the end of that extension, if it's not going good, he's not staying.
And he also has the right to demand a trade. Like he could easily say, I'm sitting out.
Absolutely. So I wouldn't blame him if he did at this point.
No, I wouldn't blame him either. So we'll see how it goes. It's going to be interesting to see where they rebound. I wouldn't be surprised. I'm going to say this now. I wouldn't be surprised if they finish 500. I wouldn't be surprised.
I'd be shocked.
A game around 500. Like their schedule is so hard in the beginning and then it evens out. Like I'll go back to it. I moved on to the next thing, but you're going to call me back, Zach. You're going to call me back to look at their schedule. I was looking at their schedule the other day. All right. So they play the Jaguars at home next week. That they should win that game.
Hopefully.
Yes?
Hopefully.
Yeah, they should win that game. Gardner Minshew isn't beating the Texans. Titans versus Texans. I can see a loss
Packers,
there.
Packers, a loss.
That's a loss. Jaguars, I think they beat that game.
Browns is a loss. Pats is a loss.
Lions, that's a win. Colts is a win. Bears, they can win. Colts, they can win. Bengals, they can win. I think they split with the Titans. I really do.
I think they have a better chance of splitting with the Jaguars than they do the Titans.
I think they win both Jaguars games. I really do. Especially next week. They're going to be coming out.
So what? They're 0-4 right now. What would we just put their record at?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So they could finish 8 and 9. 8 and 9. 8 and 8. And like I said, I wouldn't be surprised if they finished, 7 and 9, 8 and 8, 9 and 7, like around that game. 8 and 8. Give them a game or two on either side. Give them a game on either side. I wouldn't be surprised.
I think they're definitely gonna lose games that they should win. I don't think they're that good. I don't know, man.
I think there are
games in there that they're definitely gonna lose, and there's games in there that they can just play themselves into losing.
I don't know. We'll have to see. I think next week's definitely going to be a win for them because they're going to be so. I think it's going to be
I think they're going to be down in the dumps next week.
Really?
0-4.
I think it's
morale. You just lost your coach.
I think it's going to be a rallying point.
You just cost Bill O'Brien his job.
I think they'll be okay. I think it's not ready to hit the panic button on them just yet.
We'll come back to this next week. We'll see who was right and who was wrong.
We'll see. Who knows? They could shut it down anyway. Browns Cowboys. That's the other game we're going to talk about.
Very impressive Browns team. I thought very impressive.
You know what's crazy? I think the Browns are one of the most underrated teams in the NFL.
I think this is the team everyone was expecting last season when they had a bunch of hype behind them after the OBJ trade, and it's finally coming to fruition. I know they got stomped by the Ravens week 1, but everyone was kind of struggling in week 1. So
I like big day from Baker. There's like 2 touchdowns, not a lot of yards.
Well, they've turned him into a game manager, which is exactly how you should be running that offense at this point. You know you have a solid running game with the 3 backs and Hunt, Johnson, and Chubb, who got hurt, but it's still solid bell cow.
Yeah.
Turning Mayfield into a game manager and leaning on the running game to be your offense is exactly how this team should be run.
And the other thing I like about it, because they got Jarvis Landry, OBJ, and I guess you can say Baker, Kareem Hunt. They got flashy guys. Mm-hmm. So I like the flash plays. I like the trick plays.
That Landry pass to OBJ, they should be maybe not every single week, but you got to bust that out every now and then.
They got a nice, and then the OBJ running play.
The reverse, exactly. You got to get creative with your pieces.
Those 2 touchdowns were huge, and I think it just kept the defense. First of all, the Cowboys defense is not good. Let's be clear. If you give up 49 points, you're definitely not good.
Even the Cleveland defense kind of like the Cowboys back in the game towards the end, but they played a pretty solid half.
This is what I'm talking about. And the people that don't believe in this guy, I'm astonished. Dak Prescott is the real deal. Like, he is a good quarterback. People don't give him the respect he deserves. He had over 500 yards passing, 4 touchdowns. Like, I think he's good. He is a good quarterback. Now, is he as good as
Andy Dalton? No.
Stop. I know this is why you don't like him. It's because Andy Dalton.
I just want Andy Dalton to start playing football games again.
Let me ask you this: when he went out with an injury a couple weeks ago,
dude,
how excited?
I was
were
off
you
the couch seeing the red rifle come out. I was off the couch.
How excited were you to get that one snap that ended up going nowhere?
All I'm saying is, if he scored that touchdown,
I would have been so mad because that helped me win.
That's season changing, man. That's season changing. All of a sudden, Andy Dalton's QB1.
Stop it. Dak Prescott's legit. He's not as good as Patrick Mahomes, obviously. Patrick Mahomes is at his own level. You can argue with Lamar. I think Lamar's better than him, the reigning MVP. But in Russ, obviously,
it's just tough putting up that stat line and losing the game by 11
that's
points.
That's not him. That's his defense.
Not. And that's what I'm saying. Like, he's literally putting the team on his back, and you still lose by 11.
Literally putting the team on his back. Now, Zeke had a good day. He had some was involved in the passing game, but he didn't do as much as I thought he would have done on the rushing game. And I mean, part of that is losing. As I said, the same thing with David Johnson. When you're losing the game, it's hard for a running back to start getting rhythm because you've got to pass.
Right. And that's why I like the Browns using their backs to set the tone, because if you get into a shootout, the running game is gone and you're relying on Mayfield to make a bunch of throws that he's not going to be able to make.
Right. So 2 bright spots of this game for the Cowboys. Like, if you want to look positively, I'll give you a couple. I mean, Amari Cooper had a great day. He's your guy. Like,
the offense is fine.
The offense is great.
Dallas's offense is completely okay. The defense is going to hold them back this year.
The guy I want to talk about. That being said,
they can still win the division because the division's trash.
It's terrible. But the guy I want to talk about is CeeDee Lamb. CeeDee Lamb is a stud. And I mean, Michael Gallup has kind of disappeared off this team. I don't even know what he had 2 receptions for 29 yards. CeeDee Lamb, which I heard going into the season, CeeDee Lamb could take over for like kind of take Michael Gallup spot, you know what I mean? Kind of take up, like, ruin his like what the year he had. CeeDee Lamb is legit. I'm starting him in every fantasy league. He got his 2 touchdowns. I think that was his first NFL touchdown, right?
I think so.
And he just looked good. He looked very good. Dak obviously good, and Dalton Schultz, who was filling in.
He was my favorite wide receiver in the draft out of Judy, Ruggs, and him. Yeah,
absolutely.
He was my favorite of the 3.
Lamb was my favorite of the 3. But they just got to figure out the defense, man. Like, and part of it is week 1, huge injuries week 1. Like, that's part of it. You lost your signal callers and big
that's the case with every team at this point. Everyone's going down.
So now you got to figure out, and I put this a lot on Mike McCarthy. He's got to figure out how to retool this defense and get them to shut down some teams, because it's like getting kind of ridiculous. You can't give up 49 points in a game. Like, that's terrible. You can't expect Dak to put up 500 yards every week.
I think that's going to be the story of their season, is just kind of falling into holes because of the defense and Dak trying to shoot them out of it.
Yeah, they had the second quarter is what did it. They had a lead going into the second quarter. They scored. This is actually crazy. They scored 20. Cleveland scored 24 in the second quarter, but overall, I don't know. I don't know about the fourth quarter, but through the second and third quarter of the game, 34 unanswered points. They scored 24-0 in the second quarter, 10-0 in the third quarter.
That's the Browns. Right?
That's what I'm saying. The Browns outscored.
Yeah.
Dallas,
34 points.
34 points. So that can't happen. Like, your defense has got to get a stop for you. But we'll see. I mean, it's the Cowboys D. It's trash.
Better them than us.
Yeah. So that's our weekend recap. Real quick, when we're in our weekend recap, let's look at our Pats game. Of course, they're not doing a score.
Thrilling game between the Pats and the Chiefs where Brian Hoyer is just doing everything he can to choke this away.
They had a chance at the end of the half to put up 3 points, and Brian Hoyer took a sack. That is embarrassing. That is terrible.
Right,
I was just giving compliments to Brian Hoyer.
We have the ball,
6-3, 6-3 right now. We'll just
Brian Hoyer
in the pocket,
looking good, looking big.
We won't commentate this game all the time.
Drop back pass. Here we go.
And
he's scrambling, and he got the first down.
Big wheels, huh?
Wow,
oh man,
gut check from Brian Hoyer right there.
They probably got blinded by his bald head. Let's move on. Let's go to picks. Let's go to our the picks of the week. So picks of the week. Last week we mentioned our 2 picks got delayed.
So technically we're still undefeated.
Mine's still going right now. So the Pats are.
I'm in a good
losing.
Spot. My game is not happening.
Yeah, we'll take this up. We'll look at this later in a couple weeks. But who are you going with this next week, Zach?
I'm gonna ride the Josh Allen hype train, and I'm gonna take the Bills over the Titans. I still think the Titans are frauds, and I think White Lightning is gonna strike them down.
You just said that the Titans are a really good team, and they're gonna beat the who are we talking about? The Texans. So they're a good team.
They're better than the Texans are, but they're not better than the Bills.
Yeah, I think that's a good pick. I think Bills over the Titans. I have a lot of faith in the Bills. They're winning the division right now.
Man. They're
a good team. And Stephon Diggs is having a great year for them. I mean, Josh Allen mainly, but he's throwing him the ball. But Stephon Diggs has fit into that offense very nicely. My pick of the week, and I like to live life a little bit on the edge. You know what I mean? I went Pats against the Chiefs. I'm still sticking with it, even though Brian.
It's looking good right now. We're inside the 10 right now.
We're inside the 10 right now. I'm gonna go with the young kid. This is gonna be a train. This is gonna be a hype train throughout the episode. We talked about him earlier.
Big Red is starting the train. You better hop on now.
We're doing it during picks of the week, people. I'm going Chargers upsetting the Saints.
Big move.
Someone get an alarm going. Wee-oo. All right. This Chargers team is right there. Now, the Eckler injury kind of makes I kind of thought about this before I saw like the Eckler news came out.
Do it.
I think Herbert can still do it. He's had a great few weeks.
Big 3rd and 3 here. Let's see what we get. See what Brian can dial up here.
He's going, before we get to that, the Chargers are going to beat the Saints and upset the Saints. Big 3rd and 3 here. Let's see how it goes.
Edelman in motion. Here we go. And it's a handoff again.
It's a handoff.
And he broke loose.
And there's going to be a flag.
Oh, man.
John's going to end up cutting this all out at the end. That's our picks of the week. We'll see if we're right. Maybe the games will even happen this week. I don't know. But on that same train, we're going to go to our waiver pickups of the week. I'm going to start it off, and I'm going to continue to train. Justin Herbert, go get him right now.
Double down on JH.
I'm tripling down on him.
Tripling down
on Justin Herbert. He's only rostered in 11.7% of leagues on ESPN. Go get him if you need a quarterback. And he's a good, and Hoyer takes a sack.
He's a great. And the ball. And we lost the ball. Unbelievable. This dude is so bad in the run zone.
Well, this
God.
Sucked the life right out of my waiver pickup. This was really this was bad.
Takes a sack to miss the field goal before the second half, and now he just got strip sacked.
Well, that's bad. Well, you just sucked the whole life out of my Justin Herbert pick, Zach.
I'm going Scotty Miller, 11.3%.
Just moving right on.
Pick up Scotty Miller, guys. That's my waiver pickup of the week.
Scotty Miller, 11.3%. Scotty Miller, I mentioned, I think
a hidden gem.
I think he was my waiver pickup at the very beginning of the season. And people haven't listened, obviously, because he's only rostered in 11.3. So people get on him. Tommy likes his little slot receivers. He's going to throw to him. So
Justin Herbert's the move, guys. Do it now before it's too late.
Justin Herbert, I'm telling you right now, jump on the train before it's too late. I'm going to drop Russell Wilson for him, to be honest with you. I'm just kidding. I'm not going to.
You don't have Russell Wilson.
I have him in one of my leagues.
1 out of 7.
1 out of 7. I have him in. The other ones, John picked him in like the second round, and also someone auto drafted him.
Third round.
third round.
Not that high, please.
Yeah, he had the first pick in the third round. Let's take it easy. It was basically the second round.
No, I was in both our leagues. I was like mid-third.
No.
Run back the tape. Run back the tape.
You were definitely
we do have it on tape.
We do. No, Big Red Zone, James had the first pick. But in the league that we're in, you had him first. You picked him first in that round.
Probably. Smart decision, though.
I guess so. Looking back on it now, I guess. So we mentioned Bill O'Brien got fired, right? We mentioned he's done. He got the axe. So we said, let's look. We usually do this midway through the season, but since someone's already got canned, we might as well start doing it. It's a segment we like to call On the Hot Seat. So the first name that we're going to have as Danny cries watching this game over here.
I'm going to snap my laptop in half.
First coach that I want to point out, Matt Patricia. What do we think? Matt Patricia, he's on the hot seat, definitely. Will he be fired? Do you think they won't fire him yet? I think Matt Patricia is a dead man walking. I think it's just a matter of time before he gets canned. He took a team that was on the verge of being a playoff,
they were a playoff team. They fired Jim Caldwell after a 9-7 season.
Like they were on the verge of making like playoff runs, and they have just gone downhill since he took over.
I never thought he was that good as the DC in New England. I'm not really sure what the Lions saw in him as a head coach.
I mean, he did make some great play calls in some of the games, but I think he was overrated.
Completely overrated
in New England.
Brian Flores was such a better DC.
I do think he, like you said, he's a dead man walking. I think he's going to get the axe.
I think he's already lost the locker room, man. That team is shot.
So whether it's at the end of the season or middle, I don't know, but it's only a matter of time. I think
they'll give him the rest of the season, but from what it's seeming like, it's heading in the wrong direction. And I think he gets fired at the end of the season.
Yeah, I agree. Another name that we have is Mike McCarthy. New coach. What do you think? Oh dear. What do you think about Mike McCarthy? I think he's had a bad start, and obviously we talked about he's got to figure out the defense, but you just invested a lot of time and money into Mike McCarthy. I don't think this year is his year to get canned.
No, I don't think he's in any imminent danger, but the offense, like I said earlier, is in a good place, but the defense he definitely needs to work on. I think they give him that chance this offseason to try to fix the defense, kind of see how next year goes.
Right.
But right now, it's not looking good. But again, you invested so much in him, you kind of have to give him a chance.
And the other problem that's specifically with him is he's made some dumb play calls. He's made some dumb moves. Like the game that they lost, they didn't kick the field goal at the end of the game to tie. That's a dumb play call.
They wouldn't have a win if it wasn't for the Falcons puking on their shirt. I mean,
right.
They gave that game to the Cowboys.
Yeah, exactly. So, like I said, he's not in any danger in the foreseeable future, but he's not
in the best spot.
He's not in the best spot. He's definitely I don't think he's particularly on the hot seat per se, but he's definitely getting under some fire. Another name that you just mentioned, we'll go with him, Dan Quinn. Dan Quinn,
I'm surprised hasn't already been fired, especially after the Super Bowl debacle.
Yeah. I mean, I understand them giving him a chance because they had one of the best offenses. Oh, dear. They had one of the best offenses in the game that year. Matt Ryan, remember, was the MVP that year, and they just blew it in the end.
But this year, this guy can't keep his team motivated to close games out.
He cannot close games, and it's been a problem time and time again. I think it's only a matter of time before he gets the axe to it. They keep like tonight they play Monday Night Football. If they lose again and they go 0-4. I mean, yeah, I don't know surprised.
If they fire him after maybe at the end of this season, but I feel like they're just so married to this guy. I don't know if they'll do it.
I don't know.
If they haven't fired him already, I don't know if they'll fire him at all.
Yeah, that's true. But I mean, I thought the same thing with Billy O. Like Billy O had been in Texas for the longest time. I didn't think they were going to fire of all, like if you lift, like I know we haven't got to all of them, but if you had Billy O on that list, I wouldn't think they would have fired him mid-season.
That's a good point. I would have thought that either.
I would have thought they would have kept him to the end of the year.
I thought he would have been on the hot seat, probably losing his job at the end of the season, but probably not fired after 4 weeks.
Correct. And especially after your first 4 weeks are Chiefs, Ravens, Steelers, and then, I mean, the Vikings. I mean, you should win that game. But the first, you play the Chiefs at away. You play the Ravens, and they just scored a touchdown. Gosh darn it. Tyreek Hill's going to do a stupid dance. I didn't think they would fire him midseason. So I guess you're right. Maybe give Dan Quinn to the end of the year, but you just lost some terrible games. Like that's like bad losses for your team. So we'll see how that goes. Another guy that
might be short.
Joe Judge. What do you think? Joe Judge is.
I'd say same as McCarthy, just off to a bad start. Again, new head coach, invested a lot in him. I think they brought him in as more of a culture guy.
Yeah,
but
I think the guys love him.
It's hard. It's hard to say he's doing a bad job when you lose Saquon Barkley to an ACL injury.
That's very true. Give him some break, I think. And we knew that team wasn't like a Super Bowl ready, championship ready team anyway. So again, like I said, new coach, you invested a lot of time and money into him. You give him a break. Let's see how it goes. We'll give him a chance. We'll see how it goes. The last name we got on here, which is a name that is at the top of my list, I'm surprised he hasn't been fired already, is Adam Gase. Adam Gase needs to be fired.
Adam Gase
is terrible.
Should have already been fired
last year.
He shouldn't have even gotten the job in the first place. He got fired from Miami. He shouldn't even have the job. And you go through the draft and you sign Le'Veon Bell and then fire that GM and then you keep the head coach. I don't understand why you don't just clean house completely.
Right. He's had time and time again where he's put his foot in his mouth. Jamal Adams left, who is one of the best safeties.
Demanded a trade out of New York.
Le'Veon Bell they disrespect Le'Veon Bell, who I get has had a rough go of it with injuries and had a rough season last year. But what?
Your boy's coming in.
Stidham? Your
boy's coming in.
Stidham?
Helmet on. He's in the game. Here he comes.
Jared Stidham is in the game, people. We'll see how this goes. Adam Gase has got to go. And like I said, when I was saying before, if you showed me this list of names and you said someone's going to get fired week 4, I would have put all my money on Adam.
Absolutely. Dude needs to be fired.
He needs to go. Okay. But that's the list. We'll see who stays, who goes, we'll see how it works out. Now, another segment that we like to do on the show, and it's a fun one. It's early in the season, so we like to, guess who's going to win the award. So we like to call this the Way Too Early Awards. So we just broke for the in-between segments, and when it happened, going into the third quarter, Jared Stidham, we mentioned in the game, Damian Harris just broke off a huge running play. The cameras were not rolling,
not dead yet, baby. We're not dead yet.
We're not out of it
One hand out of the grave.
Let me tell you something. 10-point game going to the fourth quarter. We gave it to the young king, Jared Stidham. I'm just as confident as ever right now. I'm the only disappointment.
Hey, this is his chance to prove me wrong. I'll give him that.
Oh, you don't believe in Jared Stidham?
We've been through this so many times. I don't believe in him, but he has every chance to do it right now.
Well, believe in him right now.
I think I listened to too many episodes to keep receipts on you.
He's a big fan.
I'm an encyclopedia.
He is a big fan of the Big Red Zone. So, like I said, we're getting into the Way Too Early Award. Sorry for that delay. So we're going to go through an MVP. We're not going to do an offensive player of the year because we both, I think, picked MVPs that were offensive players, and usually they're the same. So MVP, defensive player of the year, offensive rookie of the year, defensive rookie of the year, and then our coach of the year. Okay.
Do you want to go back and forth, or do you want to go?
We'll go back and
down
forth.
The list. Okay.
I'm going to start off. Though.
All right. It's your show. Go ahead.
I think I'm going to go first. MVP should be no debate. I think you're in agreement with me. Russ is having a career year. He had a tough week this past week against Miami. Miami's defense kind of threw them for a loop, but he's still on pace for
through 4 weeks numbers. He's going off
record numbers. So Russ is the clear-cut MVP as of right now, but it's still early. Way too early.
Way too early, some would say.
So for defensive play of the year, I think we're good on MVP, right?
Yeah.
MVP. Defensive play of the year. This is where we kind of get into a little
debate.
I'm going a guy that's won it a bunch of times, Aaron Donald.
And I'm going with a new guy in Myles Garrett, who's completely turned into a monster for the Cleveland Browns this year.
Let me tell you something. Since Garrett has learned not to hit people in the head with helmets, he has been insane. No, I love Myles Garrett. I think he's a great player. Honestly, wanted to pick something like I like Aaron.
We can't just agree on every single one.
On everyone. That's bad. That's bad podcasting.
That's bad ratings.
That's bad ratings. We like ratings. Speaking of which, this is a good time to mention. Why don't you go follow us on Instagram and Twitter at Big Red Zone? You can also give us a comment. Let us know what you think. Follow us on or subscribe to us on YouTube. Hit the like button on this video and subscribe to the channel. Leave us a comment and tell a friend. You don't even have your mic.
It's a laundry list of things to do.
That's true.
One thing at a time, guys. One thing at a time.
Or do them all at once.
The one thing I've learned about is pace yourself. That's
Follow
one
us
thing.
on Twitter one day, maybe the next day is Instagram, then
Leave a
maybe
people's topic
YouTube on Friday because
Yeah.
you have nothing else going on Friday, so you watch an episode. Who knows?
Maybe write in and give us a people's topic one time. You know, it's like
One time.
Sounds angry about that one.
No, I'm just kidding. We got a bunch actually today, which we'll get to. But that was a good transition right there. So defensive play there. I don't even know where I was going with that.
Mine was Myles Garrett and yours was Aaron Donald.
I think that's good enough for there. Offensive rookie of the year. Who do you got?
CeeDee Lamb.
I love CeeDee Lamb.
Well, you just gassed up real good.
I made your point, your case for you.
Yeah, you kind of did.
CeeDee Lamb is a special talent, but I will say the offensive rookie of the year award, typically if it's there, will go to a quarterback.
Yeah, very rarely is it a wide receiver.
So I'm going Joey Burrow.
Joey Cigars, baby.
And he has lived up to the hype of his. It's another segment. I bet I would up to the hype. That's a good segment.
You guys should make a segment for that. Yeah.
Up to the hype. We'll have to do it. Maybe next time. But Joe Burrow is answered the call. He's been great this season. I think on ESPN he's ranked 8 in fantasy, and just like you can tell he belongs. You know what I mean? Just what he's doing is just unbelievable. So I'm going Joey Burrow. For defensive rookie of the year, I'm going Trevon Diggs. Trevon Diggs, Stefan's brother, right? It's Stefan's brother, right?
I believe so.
Do we pause him real quick? Look at this guy. Lay out, Nikhil.
This is a big 3rd and goal.
I think he's played really well in the secondary on a team that has had a terrible defensive start. We just trashed on the Cowboys defense, but I think he's been pretty well. He's done pretty well. He's got a couple. He's got a sack, a couple a lot of tackles. So he's doing pretty well in the secondary. So I'm going Trevon Diggs.
Sorry, I'm really locked in for this third and goal. Here we go.
This is the game.
This is
right here.
Big Red's guy right here.
This is the game. Jarrett Stidham, throw it in.
Here we go. Drop back pass. He's looking corner. He got it. He got it. N'Keal Harry, pay dirt. 13-10. We're back in the game. We're back in the game.
All you doubters of Jarrett Stidham. Look at that man is fired up.
Wow.
All you doubters, Jarrett Stidham, the future.
I was the number one doubter.
Yeah. All you doubters.
I was the number one doubter. I'll own to that.
I don't think
that was a hell of a pass.
Brian Hoyer sure as heck didn't do that.
That was a hell of a pass.
Look at Brian. He's ticked. Yeah.
Wow.
That was a great pass.
Look at this.
N'Keal Harry.
Go up and get it.
Bam.
There we go.
Good pass.
Back in the game, baby.
All right. So let's get who's your defense?
Whoever was listening to that in their car, I really hope they didn't just crash their car after being scared to death.
If you're watching on YouTube, make sure you like it because it was a great play. Go watch it. N'Keal Harry touchdown.
Back on track. My defensive rookie of the year is going to be Kyle Duggar because I don't pay attention to the rookies on defense. So I'm just going to go with the guy I know. Nice and easy.
I like how you put no clue in our thing. I like that.
Yeah. I was like, I put no clue in there, but maybe I should at least pull someone's name up, but I'll go Kyle Duggar.
All right. And coach of the year, who do you got?
That's going to be Sean McDermott.
Sean McDermott. I like that pick. He's,
I think he has the Bills going in the right path, especially with the Diggs move and everything like that. That team's going full steam ahead.
And obviously they're winning the division, which is right now, which, that's kind of a telltale if they're going to be the coach of the year. They usually have to win a lot of games and be a playoff team. I'm going with Mike Vrabel. I'm a big fan of Mike Vrabel. I think first of all, he's got the guys in the locker room. He's bought in.
He's been there before.
He's been there before. They buy into what he's saying. And just his play calling is very, like we were talking about, flashy. Like you have those
aggressive.
He's very aggressive. So I like it. It wins you a lot of games. It does lose you some games.
It definitely loses you some games.
But he definitely wins you games too. So I'm going Mike Vrabel. I love Mikey V, and I think he's going to be right now Coach of the Year. So that's our way too early awards. We'll see. We'll look ahead.
Check back in maybe in a couple weeks.
See how we're
maybe
doing.
Myles Garrett never gets a tackle again and completely falls off the map.
Maybe
Russ throws for another 20 touchdowns.
Who knows? Who knows?
Anything's possible.
So without further ado, I'm excited because
I'm going to be reacting to this live. So
we did.
I haven't heard this yet.
We gave a little spice to the people's topic today. Another spice. Danny Football has not heard this yet.
I just lost my fantasy game, so I'm not as excited as you two are.
I think you're very excited for this. I'm excited.
How am I looking
the
against
world premiere
now
of the new people's topic? So let's get to it. Let's hear the people's topic.
It's the people's topic, baby! People's topic.
Wow. What a banger of a transition.
If the Pats weren't completely choking on this defensive drive, I'd have a lot more fire in me after that. But the Pats are killing the vibe right now.
It's not killing my vibe. I love that transition.
You can buy it on iTunes.
So for people's topic, every week you can write in on Instagram, or Twitter at Big Red Zone. You could also leave a comment in on the YouTube page. Go subscribe and like the channel. Without further ado, let's go to producer John. Take it away. Give the king his respect too. He's like, save him. You know who I'm talking about.
This isn't a people's topic, but the commissioner of our fantasy. Whoa.
Oh my God.
Damn it.
That scared me. The commissioner of our fantasy league just said Hoyer couldn't play QB if it meant his hair would grow back.
He's not wrong. That's a really good take at this point. That aged very well.
He asked for his Twitter handle. I don't know his Twitter handle. It's AK_May or something like that. Something like that. We'll find it.
Yeah, we'll find it.
Probably not.
No. Do you want me to find it? No. He's a freaking fan of the show.
A couple questions. He says, we'll run through them because we kind of have a lot this week. Is COVID going to ruin the NFL season? Do we think the NFL season's going to end because of COVID?
I don't, only because baseball saw two teams completely get infected and lose games.
That's fair.
And still went full speed ahead. So I feel like the NFL is just going to keep finding ways to fix it.
Yeah.
Unless every single team gets infected, in which case you would need to shut it down. But I feel like they have so many contingency plans in place that they're going to be able to save it.
As of now, I say no for the same reasons. Remember, we thought that the MLB season was going to be shut down and they had 2 to 3 teams full of COVID.
I'm nervous though.
I'm nervous. Don't get me wrong.
It's definitely not. It could be better, but it's not. I don't think it's doomsday yet.
I by no means feel comfortable right now, but I don't feel like it's over right now. I'll say that.
Worst case, we just get rid of the Titans.
Yeah,
cut them out.
What's your take on the huge number of season-ending injuries this year?
It concerns me, and I kind of saw it coming. Maybe not to the clip that it's happening, but I definitely thought at the beginning of the season, guys are definitely going to get hurt without preseason and workouts that were over Zoom. Yeah, I just think it's unfortunate that these guys didn't have the prep that they usually have, and now they're all going down.
And it's like, it's big names now. You know what I mean? It's like, it's tough. I really hope it kind of slows down because I hate to see these guys.
Takes all the excitement out of the season too. Right, to see so many big names go down.
Like Nick Chubb and Austin Eckler are the recent ones. It's like, it's a tough pill to swallow. Thank you, A-May.
Well, he has one more.
Oh, sorry.
Well, I guess we kind of already went over this, but how much blame should the head coach get for having a bad season? For example, Bill O'Brien, even though he really sucks.
All the blame, and then you get fired.
Yep.
All right, thanks, A-May. Dave Griffin comes in, frequent fan of the show. What are our opinions on Jimmy Butler's recent performance?
I thought he kind of shrunk against the Celtics, but against the Lakers, it seems like he's finally trying to find his place again. I wasn't impressed with him against the Celtics, but I'm definitely impressed right now. I
think he's gritty, and I think that's what some people don't like if he's not on your team. He's gritty and he's a vet. I think he helps bring teams, helps teams win. If you look back at his teams, he brought the Bulls, who really didn't have much going for them, to a playoff, like helped them make the playoffs all the time. He then went to the Timberwolves, helped them make the playoffs. He then went to the 76ers and that's a bad miss by Butker. He then brought him to the 76ers to a prayer of a shot from Kawhi Leonard in the corner. Like he was like that, like he helped them get far in that season. And now he's helped the Heat get to the finals. I think he's gritty. I like him. I go back and forth on him, but I think it's like if he's on your team, he's the type of guy that if he's on your team, you love him. And if he's not, you're not a big fan of him.
From at Snidaho on, I don't know, Twitter, Instagram, I don't know which one. Instagram. Weingau's name can't Bruce announce that Brady is the reason they're doing good.
I think it's because he wants to take most of the credit. I don't think he wants Tampa Bay to be Brady's team like it was here in New England. I think he wants all the praise and none of the blame, and I think he wants to dump on Brady when he can.
He doesn't like that it's Tampa Bay. That's what it is. Like my opinion is, and I said it from week one when he called out Brady for making bad plays. In New England, the team wins, not individuals, not coaches. The team wins. In Tampa, I think Bruce is like on a revenge. He still has that chip from getting the boot from his last job, and he doesn't want it to be like the Bill. Who's more important, Bill or Tom? Or who's more important?
Yeah, he's
Bruce
almost trying to
Tom?
like assert his own dominance and say, "I'm the guy here,
he's
not you.
Out his chest.
It's me. I'm the coach."
Right. So I think that's what it is. But he's got to figure it out because you have the greatest of all time on your team, and he's trying to ball for you. You got to give him confidence.
Last question from. I keep taking a screenshot of the chat and it doesn't show his but at Joseph Celia, you know who he is. There's an underscore in there somewhere.
Yeah, somewhere, maybe a number.
I'll give him the respect he deserves. I'll look it up. Joseph _. Celia. That's what it is. Okay. Since baseball is unfortunately a dying sport in America, what are
end us on the right note here, huh?
What are 2 ways that the sport can improve itself?
I think I've talked about this on the pod before, and I'll more than willing to say my 2 cents. I think they need to market their players more. I think that clip has been used so many times in our things. They do. Like I use this example all the time. Most people, if you're not a baseball fan, probably have never seen Mike Trout play and maybe never even know who he is. Mike Trout is one of the greatest players, if not the greatest baseball player ever to play the game. And you don't even know who he is, what he's about. You know what I mean? Because if you're on the East Coast like us, they need to market their players more. They need to make them a personality. Why do everyone know the NBA? It's personalities. So I think they need to do that. The rules, it's like, it is what it is. Baseball is what it is, but they need to market their guys.
Pick 6.
Oh, dear.
How's your king, huh?
He loves
Is this your king? Is this your king?
He loves pick 6s. What can I say?
Him and Tom. So he learned it from Tom.
He learned from Tom.
He's a good student.
That's disappointing.
Damn.
Why are they showing Jules?
He was the intended receiver.
That's disappointing. I almost played Tyrann Mathieu in my IDP league too. That's disappointing.
Right out of his hands.
Yeah. Oh, did he drop it?
No, he batted it up.
But that's Jules.
Maybe put a little bit too much zip on that.
Oh my God! Please stop, Jules. You gotta catch that.
That goes
ball.
in the stat book as an interception. I'm just saying.
I know. That's off his hands. He's got to catch that. That's brutal. But
baseball. Clearly baseball.
He missed another one. They need to market their players more. That's all I'm going to say. They need to be able to. People need to connect and relate, and that's why I said like the mic'd up thing is perfect. So I hope they do that. That's what I got. Anything? Dave?
That was probably going to be my 2 main things was marketing. I'd say streaming more. I know like they have some games that they put on their YouTube channel, but I feel like a big part of like the youth audience is being able to just like flip open your phone and see a game or go on your laptop and see a game. Like, especially with like Hulu and Netflix and like people want stuff instantaneously.
Right.
I feel like it's asking a lot. And my big thing is I don't get Nesson on Hulu TV, so I can't see the Red Sox games. Whereas if the MLB Twitter was like, hey, here's the Red Sox game, I'd be a lot more invested to watch the game.
Right.
So I'd say easier accessibility to games, and then the mic'd up thing is huge. I love when they mic up the players, especially like during a big series.
You ever play MLB Slugfest?
Love
Maybe they
Slugfest.
should make it
I've
like
talked
that.
about that.
They could do that.
You just you turn on fire?
Yeah. If you get hit enough times, you get set on fire. You are allowed to charge the mound. You can punch people.
All right.
Do we need more violence in baseball?
Yes.
It's definitely getting,
Yes.
It's definitely gotten a
More
lot
violence,
softer.
more steroids.
That's
Danny,
John's.
welcome to the steroid train. Welcome to the steroid show.
So is that the last people stop? Of course,
Yeah, I think
Joe
so.
Cecilia.
I threw my phone over there. I think so.
All right, that's it for now. If we didn't get to it, we'll put it on next week. As always, you can write in any time of the week. It does not just have to be on Sunday or Monday. You can write in on Wednesday, the night the show comes out, if you think of something.
Writing on a Friday if you want.
Friday is great. Saturday,
Any day really works.
any day really works. And
Thursday.
Any day that ends
Thursday's
in a
great.
Y.
Even Monday, you won't hear it for a week, but Monday and Tuesday's
Yeah,
good.
get it in early enough.
Write in on Instagram and Twitter and follow us at Big Red Zone. You can also subscribe to our YouTube channel, Big Red Zone, and hit the like button on this video and all our other videos. Leave a comment on Apple Podcast, as producer John says. Leave a comment.
A review.
A review.
5 stars. And
5
then
star.
something nice.
Give us a 5-star
Come on.
review and comment on our YouTube. I mean, we've been known to talk about
get into beef.
get into beef on our YouTube channel. So
Bring it. Say something.
everything. And what am I going to say?
Tell a friend.
Tell a friend. Look at that.
An amigo. if
Look
you
at
would.
that. Danny Football just comes right in, knows what I'm thinking. Tell a friend. Without further ado, thank you for watching. I want to thank Danny Football for joining, producer John, as always. Have a great week, everyone.